Why, hello everybody, and welcome. Go ahead and name whichever criminal justice class of mine you're signed up in right now, because I'm going to use the same weekly update in all the classes that I'm teaching this semester. Um, each week I'm going to do a weekly update in the class, and they'll generally be unique for that class, where we talk about what we did last week and what we're going to do in the week to come. However, the first week we don't. There's nothing that we did last week, but we're going to talk a little bit about some syllabus changes and things like that that have changed since I did the course outline. We'll go over that in a minute. About the only thing that was different from each one of my weekly updates this first week is the title of the course. They take about 30 minutes to an hour to produce. I've got 6 classes. I figured, hey, you know what, I can save a lot of time if I go ahead and just produce one and use it, of course, across all courses. There are a little bit of differences on different classes, but I'll make mention of some things when they are different when we get to the section. So to get started, I'm going to tell you about some things that we're going to be doing that can be very important. First thing I want to talk about is there will be a mandatory online orientation. I realize that many of you have taken my classes for online classes several different times. And it may not be needed for you in particular, but I also know that many of y'all are used to taking face-to-face classes, and I want to make sure that we're on the same page. So everybody needs to either log into one of the 3 sessions that I've got set up, or contact me by email so I can do a personal session with you at a time that's convenient to you sometime during that first week. That means this first semester, the week will typically end on Thursday night. I'll be putting the grades in, or excuse me, the attendance in Friday, or at least I will publish the reports to put them in on Friday of each week, and all the due dates are all going to be on Thursday night at midnight. If you're 12:01, you're going to be okay. Probably 2 or 3 in the morning, you're going to be okay. I generally get up around 5 in the morning, and if it's raining outside, I'm not going to be running, so I may start working right at 5. So don't take the chance. Get them done before 5 a.m. on Friday. But again, the deadline is midnight. So for some reason, I'm up at midnight, and that's probably not going to happen. But if I am, and don't complain that you were going to try to get it in at the last minute. That is the deadline. Anyway, this orientation should take about 30 minutes or so. I've got a session set up. It's all on Tuesday, August 25th, the second day of class. I didn't want to do it the first day of class because many of you won't sign in till the first day. I've got sessions set up at 10 a.m., at 3 p.m., and at 7:30 p.m. So pick one of those sessions. If you cannot make it because you're working 12-hour shifts and don't get off until 7:30 that day, then send me an email and I will make arrangements to meet with you in the same chat room and kind of give you a personal one-on-one. Again, it won't take that long. The way this is going to work, you will then simply click on this link. When you click on the link, it will open up a new page, and I'm already signed into Blackboard, so it may forego asking me my name. It may take a couple of seconds for it to come up. We'll see. No, it's actually going to want me to put my name in. When you put your name in, put the name that is used in Blackboard, so I can, first and last name, so I can check you off the list. If you go by something else, you can put what your preferred name is in parentheses. But as far as the way it is in Blackboard is how I have to match it up. And some of you have different last names, go by different first names. Just use your Blackboard name, type that, then you click Join Session. It may or may not, depending on whether you've been in Collaborate before, ask you permission to use your mic and your camera. Give it permission. I expect everybody to have a camera and mic. You're going to need them to take the exams, and I expect you to have that for this orientation because we need to see each other. We need to kind of get to know each other a little bit. So those are the 3 sessions that will be set up. Again, make sure you let me know if you are unable to make one of them. I will be available. I've got some meetings going on next week. I can teach in the police academy at the end of the week. That might be the following week, but anyway, I do have some other things scheduled. But normally, I'll be available most times between say 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. Even on the weekends. Again, just get with me and we'll find a time that's convenient. I'm available and you're available. It's not going to be that hard of a thing to do. Okay, while I'm at it, if you might notice the blackboard looks a little bit different. They have changed the theme behind Blackboard to a standard one, so you won't have different colors for each class. At least that's what they told us, and then they got the system set up, and it came up with some strange colors that were hard to read, and they sent us instructions how to change them all to be the same. So at any rate, it's kind of a standard system. It's going to look a little bit different. I have always used big banners on each of my classes to show what class they're in, more for my benefit than yours, but it can also be a benefit for you. Before I did it, I used to make changes to things in a class and realize I was in the wrong semester or the wrong course. So I've got these banners up. It makes it a whole lot easier, to know I'm in the right class. It's just hopefully it'll be easy. They're suggesting that all instructors use the banners, so if you're used to, you should be used to mine if you've taken my classes past. Again, many of you this is your first semester taking classes from me. Okay, now I mentioned earlier that there were going to be some changes in the syllabus. Unfortunately, sometimes we have to make changes in the syllabus because of particular unforeseen, unwarranted activity by students that needs to be added to the syllabus so that there are more severe consequences for their actions. Mostly this has to do with kind of cheating, and I'll talk about it when we get to the big ones have to do with the discussion boards. But even on exam, I want this isn't new added to it, but it is definitely something that I want to emphasize here. If you're caught cheating on exam, you'll fail the class. If you're caught cheating on a research paper, you'll fail the class. And if you're caught cheating on anything in the class, you will fail. That includes the discussion boards. We'll get to that in a second. Another change that I made is, this is kind of a bookkeeping thing. In your paper, if your paper's late, I used to have a rule that says if things are late, that you're only allowed to have one item late, and you'd lose 10 points per day. The only thing I really applied that to was the research paper, so I'm going to apply it just to the research paper. Or, if you're in Fundamentals of Criminal Law, to the 2 case reviews. So, it will apply to both of them. If your paper is late, for each day it is late, there will be 10 points deducted, each day that is past due. So that can add up quick. You need to get them in on time. And again, with the research paper, the other things I want to emphasize here, there are 3 things that are required. You need to do a research paper. Your research paper must have an interview that you personally did. Don't write about somebody else's interview, or that won't count and you'll fail the class. That's the consequences of not having an interview in your research paper. I will probably say, hey, where's your research paper? Get it in. I will start counting off the 10 points per day, though. So if it gets down to 0, you'll still have to submit the paper to pass the class. You just won't get any points for it. So just think of that. Get the interview in. If you have any difficulty interviewing someone or finding someone to interview, email me, and I'm not going to tell you who to interview, but I'll try to point you in the right direction. Now, this does not apply to Fundamentals of Criminal Law and the case reviews. There are no interviews in those. It also doesn't apply as an interview if you're able to do the court observation paper. You're not going to have to interview somebody. However, that's not going to happen this semester, I do not think, because the courts are closed. And if you're doing a patrol ride along, which also will probably not happen this semester, your interview is talking to the officer that you are riding with, find out about his background, get some answers from him. That is your interview for that. You will need to include that in your paper. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the online discussion. Now, the online discussions are all set up so that you must post before you can read anybody else's discussion. So what did I have happen by more than one student this semester? I've had it happen once or twice during the semester before, but not to a great extent. I had students who would basically put a blank post up there and then read other people's work, and then 3 or 4 hours later post their answers. Gee, what do you think they did during those 3 or 4 hours when they had access to look at everybody else's work? And it wasn't just one. Of course, the summer courses, you do 3 chapters a week, so I didn't have, it wasn't like I, was checking every day on that. By the end of the week, there were 3 chapters, and they did the same thing each time. And again, there were at least 2 different students that did this. That's cheating. That is considered cheating, and believe me, that is not allowed, and you'll fail the class. You cannot pass this course if you're caught cheating. Now, at times, someone may accidentally post the wrong paper. They pick the wrong file when they're uploading it. Well, if that happens once, I can understand it. If it happens twice, it's not by accident. So be careful. Also, after you post it, read what you posted. Make sure it's the right thing. I had one this summer that posted the blank case or the blank exam review, but apparently they caught it because 2 minutes later they posted the fully up-to-date one. That's acceptable because it was obvious it was a mistake. They didn't have time to look at somebody else's and then write their paper in those 2 or 3 minutes that it took to post it. Don't post blank work in order to look at other people's work, and don't post a blank work so you can move on and take the test. All original posts must be completed in order to pass the course. While you may occasionally be able to find an answer to one of the terms, turning in a paper with a substantial number of terms blank is not allowed. I had students this summer, I don't know what was in the water. I had students that would put one answer, and that was it, out of 15, 20 terms. Well, that's not doing your work. That's just doing it so you can move on to the next chapter. That is not going to count. If you do that, again, that is cheating, and you're not going to pass the class. Do not, under any circumstance, post something without a substantial number of terms. Complete it. Now, what is substantial? Well, if there's only 5 terms that are in one review, you're going to have to answer every one of them. There's no way you can't find the 5 answers. And I'm thinking of Fundamentals of Criminal Law. I've got somewhere they've got just about 5 terms in them. If there's 20 terms and you miss 2 or 3 terms, okay, that's understandable. If you miss 5 or 6 terms, that is not understandable. If you're more than 10% of the work is not completed, that is not a substantial number of, that would be considered a substantial number left blank. And again, you'll fail the course. So don't do it. I mean, just blank, don't do it. So those are the couple changes that I had to make. I hate to have to make changes because of erroneous behavior by students, but sometimes you have to make changes. If you were those students that did it, understand that everybody is suffering. Well, not really suffering because nobody else was doing stuff like that you were doing, but the rules are now very plain, and if you get taught doing it this time, unlike the summer when you pass the courses, you will fail the class because it will be considered cheating. Okay, that's just about all I have for you in this weekly update. Again, I will be posting these about once a week, usually on Fridays. Hopefully they'll all be done on Fridays. I've got everything due on Thursday. I'm not used to having so many online classes with everything due the same night. So Fridays is, or, it may not be Friday morning when I get things posted, but I will get them posted as soon as possible. Maybe Friday afternoon, maybe Saturday morning before I get them all posted. If you have any questions, remember, at the bottom of every one of the weekly terms is a Ask Your Instructor bulletin board. This is one that is not a post first and read. Everybody can read it. I would suggest that everybody click on that this term and hit subscribe. I've already subscribed to it, so it would normally say subscribe here. Click on that. What that does is anytime someone posts some information to that bulletin board to ask a question of me, you get an email. Don't worry about getting inundated with emails. I think I typically average about 3 or 4 questions per semester on these Ask Your Instructors. So you might get 3 or 4 emails, but it could be something that's really important to you that you would like to have the answer on. That's all I've got. I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you this semester. We'll be seeing you soon, seeing you all in the orientation.